It's really hard to get the lighting here, folks. Sorry, but it's kind of like I'm sitting in a restaurant and I'm trying to get the right corner to get the right lighting without getting hit with the sun coming in the window. I'm trying to deal with this. Well, see, gotta get aim for this. There, don't want to blind you with the light, bouncing off my forehead or something here. Um, so the first guitar that I tested yesterday, again, I have not tested any guitars yet at V Class. First time testing. Yeah, heard a lot about them, know a lot about them, watched all the videos about them, heard a lot about them, heard everybody well about them. And my test to actually test them out, right? So my first guitar that I tested yesterday in a shop after several years was a Taylor 614 brown sugar CE. I don't care about the CE part because I wasn't testing electronics, only the acoustic part of it, right? But it's a 614 CE brown sugar. I don't know if it's a 2021 or 2022. I don't know. I didn't look at the date on it. But they've been selling guitars for as fast. These things don't stick around for long. The shops all told me that they're selling fast because the backlog and the production, all that stuff. So when they come in, they sell, and people are playing guitars because they're staying at home and not spending money on vacation, right? So it's fairly recent version. Now I will say that I already have for the 614. The reason why I want to test this guitar first is because I have a Taylor 614 CE 2010 or 2011. Doesn't really matter the year in that because they both had maybe not. I think that had the Taylor had either the 1.2 or the 1.3. I'm pretty sure it had the 1.3 electronics in it, okay? It's called the TES back then because we sometimes say it's the ES. It was called the TES, Taylor Expression System. Back then, that was the name of it. Then when they went to the 2014, they just talked about it and said called the ES, okay? So yes, it was called the TES back then because it was called EST for one thing and ESN for another thing and TES, okay? So this is the real name of it, TES 1.3. Okay, which had one phase switch on it because the one before had two phase switches, right, inside the white ones on the board. So the 2010 or 2011 guitar, it doesn't matter because they have the same electronics in them, the 2 years. So I have a blonde, okay, a Taylor 614 CE blonde guitar. The two-piece back blonde. It's not the three-piece back, which is like the Doyle Dykes version of it, right? Which is 614 Doyle Dykes and all that stuff. And he had special electronics in that one, okay? But so I have a blonde for that one, okay? The true blonde, okay? The real blonde, not the blonde that changed the color of their hair, right? So, and then I also have a 2015 614 CE first edition. Yes, an FE first edition. That means they're only between 50 and 100. Can't remember because sometimes they're 50, sometimes they're 100, depending. Made worldwide, made and shipped worldwide. The only one was sent in France. I got it. Okay, so yeah, and I actually chose that. And I did test a 614 brown sugar 2015 during that year. I tested one that was not the first edition in another shop. I actually was surprised I could find two 614 brown sugars at the time, KCEs. And I found, then I saw that the one at the first edition, I took the train to go that one. I didn't care if it was a 4-hour round trip. That one, I went to there and got there as fast as I could, okay? I called them up and made sure they had it, and I got there as fast as I could get to test that guitar and reserve it, put money down payment on the thing, okay? So I did test in the 2015 brand new to guitars. My 614 CE blonde was brought brand new, but it had been in the shop for a while, so that was different. But my brown sugar, the one that I tested was a brown sugar in the shop, and then the one I bought was a brown sugar. Okay, and so the difference was the first edition. The first edition, I tested both of them. They both kind of felt the same, but my brown sugar had the Adirondack bracing. Okay, so that is an added thing. Had a couple extra things. Had that. Didn't have the Go to 510 tuners. Oh, I wish I had that, but it didn't have that because that would have got me addicted to all the 610 tuners. Okay, and then I would have been stuck buying more tuners all the time, replacing all this. I'm glad I didn't get those. It also had the dual logo on the front and back. That was a cool thing to have the extra logo. Okay, back then. And it had the logo on the case, but they gave me the wrong case because they gave the case to the first edition to somebody else. I didn't get that. I had to get a reduction on that one, and I couldn't get a reduction on that part of it, right? I knew more about the guitar than the actual salesperson did. Okay, but the first edition, I could tell him everything about the guitar. He was like, "Whoa, you know this really well." So Adirondack bracing that I wanted. Now I played that guitar. It's like, whoa! I call this the rib cage rumbler. Rib cage rumbler is my name. Okay, that I give this guitar because I got a 610 blonde, and it just the new one just brand new guitar was like, wrong. You could rumble. I could feel it going through my whole chest. Okay, playing this guitar, and I'm not the one who's saying this. I'm saying I did have some friends that were kind of brand new guitar players, and I let them test my like super expensive guitars, right? Well, super expensive for them, right? And they tested the blonde one and then the brown sugar, and they said, "Whoa, this is like wow." Okay, they said this rumbles the rib cage. I said the same thing. Okay, so so there's kind of other validated proof that the difference was there. I love my blonde guitar. I play it for some things, and I play my brown sugar 614 FE for other stuff. So, but it's a go-to guitar for some things. The problem with that, the thing is that it is true that the the varnish on top of it is a little too thin because it does dent too easily compared to the older one. But you get dings too easy. But we deal with that. Okay, whatever. Just don't ding it, right? That's hard to do. If a mic hits it, right? A mic stand falls over and hits it. I got to do that. If you drop a cape on it, it hits it. I've been doing that. Okay, but we'll deal with that. So yesterday when I go to the shop, so I got to tell you what I got, so I know what do I get there, and I'm going to test this thing. And I saw the 614 brown sugar, brand new guitar, and I got to test this one, right? Because it's a V class. My old one at first edition is not a V class; it's an X bracing, but a first edition with a Adirondack bracing. So and I bought it brand new, so it rumbled my rib cage from the first day. So what I want to hear is, what do I want this rib cage? I play the V class. Is it going to rumble my rib cage or not? This is the question, right? We got to know this. This is a first test, right? So, another thing when I was coming to test the guitars, and it was very important. So I had to play in Africa. The song. So I had two or three songs. So I'm going to do an open mic in the next 2 weeks. It's really important I play these songs because I want to see how it sounds compared to the ones I've been playing. Because I'm getting ready to play here. So I play Africa by Toto, with and without a capo. Okay, and I want to play Hold the Line by Toto, and I'm going to play Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Okay, right? Yeah, it's all the 1980s stuff. But that's what I do. Okay, and I sing with it. It's got to sing with it. So it's got to feel how it's going to go with the singing, right? Plus, I did some other stuff like the Bamba and Help by Beatles and John Legend, All of Us, and I just play a bunch of stuff. I was sitting there playing, okay? So what I think about the 614 brown sugar CE, 614C brown sugar V class bracing. And I actually did play another song that I can't remember the name of it. When I said in this other video, I can't remember the name of this thing. It's a church worship song. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a really cool song that it plays way up high the neck. And you play it down, you come down the neck, and it plays these really cool open chords. It's a really cool open chord that has I can't remember the name of the song. I'm sorry, it's an E. I can't remember the name. Okay, I'll have to look it up sometime. I learned it in French. I can't remember the English name of it. Even if I did, I can't remember the name of it. So there, it did start in English, but it was original English, but it doesn't matter. So I have this place that's open song that I always test this to test the intonation of any guitar I buy. Okay, so it's because it's an open chord, all the way down the neck, all the way down from about 12th down to the zero. So for first fret. So this is like testing the intonation, right? Intonation is perfect, no problem there. But then the intonation was perfect in my first edition and on my yellow one, on my blonde anyway. So there was no problem with the intonation on those guitars on that song. So that really, but hey, it was fun. It was great. So that's fun. But I don't play a whole lot of songs that just do all that at a time. Yeah, because I'm a singer, right? I'm not going to sit there being fancy stuff trying to sing because it's really hard to sing fancy stuff and do it at the same time, right? When you sing, you got to sing and you got to focus on singing. The playing is another thing. So, and I don't like to just I don't like to just sing and have others play. And I don't like to play and have others sing. Well, I do, but it's kind of boring. So I like to do the hard stuff and do both. As I'm a singer and a player. The other things that were cool about the guitar, so the song, so pretty much, I played a little bit of Sweet Home on it, Sweet Home Bama. That's my testing to see what the bass is, right? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. You know, it's dun, 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 bum, 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 bum. Okay, that kind of stuff. Played a couple lines out of it's Pretty Woman, um, and it played the bamba because you got bum 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 dun 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 bum 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 bum. Okay, that kind of stuff. So I tested a bunch of these things, and um, it doesn't sound as good as my first edition. No, the guy at the seller said, "Well, yeah, but your guitar opened up." I said, "I bought my guitar new. I know what my guitar sounded like new, and I know what my first guitar sounded like new as well, or the 610 and the 614s. I've had two of them. And I've played a lot of the 615s too, so I know what all these guitars sound like new because I test a lot." And I'm a phonetician on top of it. I like to work with sound frequencies. This is what I like to do. I've actually tested bridge pins and actually tested the sound frequencies on bridge tin test. Okay, so yeah. The opening up thing, and it wasn't a big deal for me right here. It's not because my other guitars opened up in 7 years that I'm not. I'm more impressed with my guitars because it had already impressed me when I bought it when it was brand spanking new, right? So, but my guitar that I bought 7 years ago, the first edition, impressed me more than the one I just played. Okay, just rumbles my rib cage. The first one, the second one doesn't rumble my rib cage, right? The V class one just doesn't rumble it, and that's okay. I'm not saying it has to. It's just, but it might. If I did the Adirondack bracing, that might be the thing. Okay, it could be just that. They both got the toasted, baked, or what do you want to call it? Torrefied. Torrefied is the fancy word. Torrefied top. Now, the funny thing about the salesperson, come on, Taylor, guys. I'm gonna tell you, Taylor. The salesperson said to me, I said to him, "Hey, why do you think that I said to the guy just kind of see what he knew," and I asked him, "What's different about the car? Why is this color?" And he says, "Because the back and sides are torrefied." I said, "The back and sides are not torrefied." I said to him, "That's not the back and sides torrefied. It's the top that's torrefied." He said, "No, no." I said, "Yes, the back and sides are not torrefied. The top is torrefied. That's why it's a slightly different brown, right? Or slightly different color of this. Only the top is torrefied. Martin does the same thing. Martin Taylor's done it. It's only this model that does the torrefaction on this. Torrefaction, sorry. So yeah, maybe the 900 series because I did the second model. I did the torrefaction, but the 600 series in order to be the torrefied tops. Okay, it's torrefaction and torrefied. Okay, there's not a torrefaction, right? Okay, you got to learn these words, all right? So they both have torrefied tops, right? And then I told him, I said, no, the back is a stain rub. The back and the sides are stain rub. Okay, you got to rub it in. They rub it in. It's a coloring. Yes, it's maple. It's blonde, but they stained it by rubbing in the stuff, and then they put the varnish on top and the gloss on top. So I didn't get into how thick the gloss was, okay, because I didn't want to test him how much you knew about that. Because yeah, there's a difference between the first one and the second one, because the first one was too thin. Now they upped it a little bit. Didn't want to get into that with the guy, okay? So torrefied tops, both. They have torrefied tops. It's the same guitar, except for the Adirondack bracing. So I think that's the difference. Both are brand spanking new. The difference was the torrefied bracing and the V-class bracing. So there's slight differences, which do make a difference. But I didn't find that the V-class on this specific model made any difference. Okay, just on this specific model. Okay, I didn't feel I had any major difference. But then it's not supposed to. It's supposed to just help with the intonation. But my intonation didn't have any problems with the guitar I've got already, right? The two guitars I got, they're both 614s. So that was the 614. I love the guitar. Okay, I just love the 6/4. I just love the maple. Period. And the reason why I love the maple, okay, is because I really love maple and Koa. Okay, I'll come back to the Koa because I'm gonna do another Koa in here a little bit later. That I tested as well. But the Koa, so the maple and the Koa, it was cool about the frequencies. Now I got to come to that frequency list. That little chart that Taylor puts on their website. Okay, and it actually takes along with the road shows. Look at the frequency chart on the maple and the Koa. Okay, it's way different than mahogany. Way different. Okay, rosewood swoops down. Okay. Mahogany straight. Sapele is just a slight little dip here. It kind of goes up, slight little thing, but it's pretty much like Sapele. Um, but maple it's got that high frequency. Got a high frequency, and actually the Koa is kind of high frequency, but it's got some bass in it too that extends on when it opens up, and they say that in the dotted line. Okay, but the maple I love because I'm a singer, and I get a range. I proved yesterday I can sing really low and I can sing really high. Okay, I can do both. My range is pretty high. Okay, I got a pretty wide range. I can probably sing 2, 3 octaves. I can cover them. Okay, I got a pretty wide range. Really. You don't have to kick me in the down low to make me sing high. I can sing high. I can sing John Denver songs. Okay. Sometimes I got to stretch a little bit to John Denver, but I can sing John Denver's and Michael Jackson. Okay, and sometimes I got to work out a little bit, but let's say I can sing that high. Okay, that's up in F and G range. Okay, on a first tenor. Okay, and they're actually higher because they can actually sing higher than I can. But like I have a calypso, I can sing the song, but it's really tall on John Denver's, and that's a really hard song to sing. Okay, so because it's really high calypso, it's really up there. Okay. Um, so, um, but I can sing baritone. Okay, I can even sing bass lines if I have to. I'm baritone's fine with the range, so is tenor and first tenor if I have to sing first tenor. Okay, so what I like about the maple guitars is the range. What you need to understand is the frequency range of the maple wood. Now, it's the maple wood plus the build. Okay, plus the construction. Okay, it's not just the wood; it's the construction rate, the build that makes the sound waves and all that stuff too. That's important. So the way the Taylor does this with the maple, but I actually got other maple guitars, not Taylor, the same kind of thing. You get the same kind of voice. And everybody says maple guitars are bright. Hey, why did Bob say that they chose to make the brown sugar guitars? Because the people say that they're too bright, right? It's got the different sound. It's a blonde, brunette, blonde. Hey, different kind of. They wanted brunette, right? So that's why they made it brunette with this brown sugar. Yes, they did say this. It's not a male thing and a male against female. That's what they said in the video about why they did this thing. Because it's just different guitar. It doesn't seem like the ones with everybody. All the guys like brown hair guitars, right? So, or brown color guitars. That's the history. So blonde is kind of different than the acoustic things. Okay, so that's why they turned them brown sugar. So the frequency range of the sound is actually the same as your voice. If you actually measure and do a spectrogram, okay, folks, it's called a spectrogram of a frequency range on a spectrograph as the machine. If you do it, you're going to find that the range of the frequencies, okay, is the same as the voice, okay, in mahogany guitars. All the mahogany range guitars are like that. All around, all solid mahogany is just the same as my voice right here. It just covers that whole thing. But the nice thing about the maple guitars is there are two factors to understand with the maple guitars. One is that the voice, the vocal range, it doesn't cover the vocal range. It's actually higher than most vocal ranges, right? So that means when you're singing, your voice sticks out alongside the guitar. They're not competing with each other in the vocal range, right? Second thing is that the attrition, that is the decrease that a maple guitar will lose very quickly, the bass frequencies, it goes down immediately, right? It doesn't stick around as do all the other guitars of the browner, darker guitars, right? Their bass range is going to stick along longer. So they actually resonance. And we get into overtone stuff and how those come out too, but let's not get into that part of it. Just that the bass sounds decrease really quickly in a maple guitar. It loses it. Whereas what they did was they tweaked here in this brown sugar 614 guitars. They tweaked it so that it sticks around longer. Okay, it actually stays longer. So I can play Sweet Home Alabama on my brown sugar, and I did that yesterday, and it sounds there. It doesn't sound like my original maple that actually just loses it really quickly, right? So yeah, the V Class 614 sounded really good. If you're looking for that kind of vocal range or the range of the sounds, if it going along with your voice, it kind of depends what song you're playing, what you want to get out of it. It's all about the search for a perfect tone, right? Doesn't exist, right? Because the perfect is what's in your head and what's in your ears, right? So, but If it's the kind of the guitar that you're looking for, some of you folks that we need to play these Taylors, you're hemming and hawing between, you're hesitating between an 814 and a 614 because you're trying to figure out which one is the sound you want, right? So I would go for me, I go for the 614 immediately. I don't think about it. Okay, I love the 814. The Rosewood's great. The Rosewood's great for the voice too. It's way better than mahogany for a voice. But I like that just the way that the 614 has that extra little high range that doesn't cover over the it's not the same vocal range. Okay, that's important for me as a singer, right? So, so that's pretty much. I think about the 614 when I did it. I mean, it's just nice to play. Hey, the custom lights on the guitars right now are really nice to play because I think I've got Martin lights on there right now because I put some Martins on there. It's like the last pack on there, and that's hurting my fingers. Okay, I gotta. Right now, I haven't played for 2 years, right? So it's kind of hard to play again. Getting those calluses back. Actually, not just calluses, just playing again. So that I'm gonna put on some like custom lights to make it easier on my fingers, right? So they don't hurt as much, right? Which means I'm gonna have to slightly tweak that truss rod, just slightly. And yes, I do have the Taylor tool to do this thing, but I'll have to slightly tweak it, maybe, to just deal with that very very slight, gauge of strings. I'm not trying to. I'm not to make major differences. But no, that'll have to do. Maybe if I go to custom, probably not. If I'm going to light to custom lights, you're probably okay. If I was going from a medium, if I had medium strings on to go down to custom light, then I'd probably have to do a little more. I'd have to do some more tweaking. But I'm not going to worry about that. I don't think because it's not buzzing. It's not buzzing at all. So I'm not going to worry. When I put the new strings on, no, it shouldn't buzz. So that's everything for I think the 614 CE. Yeah, go test it out. Test in the shop. Don't buy things on the internet. Okay, don't buy them on the internet. And the reason I'm saying don't buy it on the internet because you're going to send it back if you don't like it. And the problem is you don't know if you don't like it if you don't test it, right? So unless you're stuck and you cannot play the guitar, go down and test the thing. Go test it because playing guitars is all about the ears. Okay, it's about the playing of the fingers and the ears. And you can't know that unless you hear it. Now, you can ask somebody to play it for you, but you got to make sure they play the things that you play, right? And you got to have them play the kind of the way you play, right? Because when you play, you're going to play differently, right? So that's all the fun thing. But yeah, there are some recordings. It's pretty cool. It helps other recordings. You got to compare with other guitars, right? But I can have the guitars have the same recordings from all the different things. You can compare them, right? So, but that's a 614 CE brown sugar 2021, maybe 2022, fairly recent model of that. So there's that guitar that I tested out and what I thought about it. So V class bracing, right? And let's go to the next.